We had at the last month's meeting that great discussion about exactly how to do the memes, and then some really phenomenal execution by Dan. Um,
Dan does it
uh,
all.
Likewise on the op-ed, Shannon and I worked together. I think pulling together a really strong 500 words. In both cases, our sort of key contact points, gatekeepers, people we thought it would be pretty simple to rely on to get these out and around, have not come through for us. And in one case, I think there's still time, and the other, I don't know about. So, um,
Well, just let
yeah.
me break in here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but, and I skimmed the email chain, I admit, but it seemed that somebody at the Democratic Party, the C, what's her name? C,
Well, Courtney,
was a little bit peeved at the pace that we took and suggested, is that
well,
correct or not?
sort of,
And
right?
suggested that, oh, he was wanting to work with you, he's just,
Right, we
yeah,
had waited a little
yeah.
for him. Um,
I thought that was a very peeved
then we
email she
went
sent.
ahead because everybody's busy, and we
Who are we
thought
waiting for?
the digital person.
It
Have
was
you,
somebody.
What's
They
his
wanted
name?
to be. I might have just filed all of this
Have you-
away.
No, no, no.
Because I read
No,
your,
you
I
weren't
read your
on.
thing, and I. Oh,
Right,
okay,
you
good.
weren't on this
Oh,
this
perfect.
email thread. This kind of gets kind of deep
In the
into
weeds.
how it
Got it.
worked, right?
have you heard from her since then?
No.
Did you send it out to anyone? The editorial? I thought it got
Yes.
published.
Let's
Sorry.
we'll, next. Sticking with the meme for the moment. Memes. Okay. Um, I mean, we haven't sat on them, right? Emailed them once or twice. Twice. Um, I've tweeted them many times.
They're on Facebook.
They are on our Facebook page, so we didn't sit on them.
We didn't.
But
That's the problem.
nobody's helped push them out further than that. And the one obvious way, and I would like to pull Katie in because on the Instagram side, but let's stay with Twitter for the moment. The most obvious way um, would be for the WISDEM's Twitter account to tweet us out. And frankly, I'm frustrated that they haven't. I have many times. I believe every time I've tweeted the memes out, I have, um, you know,
Tagged
whatever
them
the
in
opposite of subtweeting is,
Hey, like tagged them.
I've named. You're right. I've used their Twitter handle in the tweet, and at no time have they taken the cue. Now, as I say, on both fronts, I've been really aggressive and follow through because I'm an advocate and that's what we do. Um,
It's timely.
but it may be that I do one more try with our friends on staff there. But I was very direct in saying that I felt let down,
Yeah.
and they were a little defensive. And Shannon, your recollection is right that part of the defensiveness was, oh, he had wanted to make it graphically consistent with the graphic look, with the brand, with the Wisdom's brand.
Yeah.
And I remember, Dan sort of saying to us, let's not, kind of be dependent on them for going ahead, which I think was right. It's hard for me to believe that if we'd waited a little bit longer, it would have gotten done.
I get the feeling we're not the highest priority right
Nor
now.
should we be.
No.
Nor should we
No,
be. But the ask is so simple.
Yeah.
Even if they did it once, they'd make us happier than I'm feeling like we're getting stiffed here.
Well, at the risk of saying this live on the air, and and Martha, if you're watching, give me a call. We'll talk. We have a leadership right now that is very top-down oriented. They want to control every aspect of everything that the party does all across the state. And that's fine, except that if you're going to do that, you need a pile of cash that runs above your head, because you've got to have the resources to control that communication stream and get out there and put people on the ground in person. And the party doesn't have that. But the leadership doesn't want to give up even the slightest little sliver of power to let the counties or the CDs or even the grassroots go out and do their own thing. And I think this is a frustration that's been building, not just with us, but also with other things that we're doing down in Dane and some other. And I don't know how you can really do anything else about it, but ask them to participate with you, and if they don't end up coming to the table,
I will give it one
move
more
forward.
shot. What I certainly wanted to do was get past the Friday gubernatorial debate. I understood. I've been in those war rooms. I also am cautious and slow to have these sort of reactions to people who do this full time for a living. I know that they catch a lot of flack and a lot of gripes, and I know that it's a sensitive business and you have to be careful, and that some degree of control over political message because of political sensitivity and because it's easy to make mistakes, is necessary. But we've been extremely careful. We developed what we developed, I think, with a view towards minimizing any potential exposure and maximizing the reinforcement of themes that we see them themselves, with the hit on Schimmel and 3M, which was exactly in line, with what we're doing. So I'll give it one last shot.
Are we connected directly to their digital team, their social team?
Yes.
We are. Okay,
Yes,
so
we have the right contact. We
Okay.
do.
So that would be the other question,
that-
because
no,
sometimes
that's-
people are
that
just
is clear.
it's social media. I don't.
No, we
Okay.
know our chief point of contact is
Sure.
the communications director, and then we were
So they should-
introduced to the
Sure.
social media person.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's segue now to the op-ed. Unless you want to say something about Instagram, and maybe we put this on the docket for post-election and growth
Sure.
and
So
strategy.
the question about Instagram is, should we have one?
I set one up.
Oh, okay. You set one up. I wonder if I followed it.
But starting from zero.
Sure.
I've got 2,000 followers on Twitter, so
It's
that
easier to
right
to get going on that.
right.
Yeah. Instagram, the demo is often younger.
Right, I know.
So if that's what you're trying to attract, the other thing is sometimes you just need to find some key people. We have some young Dems that maybe would just be great to, hey, there's this thing, you should follow them or whatever. So there's a strategy for getting people to know about this, but we can work on that, or I can work on that by myself, or whatever.
So as the short term, as the immediate term, if you identified 3 or 4, good contacts who, like you say,
Yeah.
young Wisconsin Democrats active
Influencers.
Right. If you identify them for me, and then we can follow through in terms of directing them to our Instagram account where the memes are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. The op-ed column. Here again, I guess it's part of a larger picture of the pressures on local daily newspapers. There is a context here, but the previous and current, they're called community engagement editors now, is the modern term.
The Gannett peeps.
Yep. The previous person was Jamie Rokas.
Yep, she's not there anymore.
The new person is Jen Zittel.
Okay.
Both terrible at responsiveness. I have twice gone through the city reporter, who I work with on city news, who covers the council, and he is aces at responsiveness and has helped initially prompt Jennifer to call me.
Hmm.
Okay, I send her the submission, and she would get it into not just the Journal here,
Right.
but she would get it into Marshfield and the
Appleton,
Daily Herald, right?
Green Bay.
And I've been even a little bit more forward-leaning with her than I have with the DPW people. Twice said, "Hey, we want to make sure you got this," before going back to the City Hall reporter and having him and telling him how awful this is, and he said he pinged her again, from which I've heard nothing. Now, why do I say that about Daily News? Arguably, I should immediately, or should have already, just shift to the weekly. I don't know, maybe.
Right.
But I know the ripple effect we can get through the chain,
Yeah.
immediately in this extended region,
Theoretically.
and then theoretically out to other parts of the state. So that's where that stands. I've never had experiences like this. Twice I've been, in those papers since I've been here, and it was. Do you remember Rob Messner,
Mhm.
who was not unresponsive?
Yeah, no, you could tweet at him and he'd probably fix this for you in some way.
He's still with the organization.
Oh yeah,
I'll
he's
DM
still
him.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
The other,
Then thank
yeah.
you. That's a good idea, and I'll do it immediately.
yeah. Well, you can DM him and be nice, or you can just call him out and say, hey.
I'm not above that in other settings,
Yeah,
but I
no.
think I'll be more.
Sometimes the news covers you if you do that.
polite.
Depends on who you're calling out.
Thanks for affirming that he's still with the
Yep.
company, and
He doesn't work in that specific area,
Right.
but he will know the
Okay,
channels and
alright.
levers.
Okay, I'll DM Rob.
The other thing is we
That'll
have,
help.
in Wausau specifically, we have a couple good outlets you could use. We have Wausau Pilot and Review that
Mhm.
will publish everything. So,
Yeah.
and they have a pretty good reach on social media. So they would post it, share it out. We have city pages. We have the Record Review.
Right. So we give
I
this
wanna
another.
know.
I'll just another 48, 72 hours max.
Whatever you
Okay.
want.
All right, and then at some point,
Direct
and
marketing.
today is Wednesday. At some point on Friday, switch. Just give up on
Well,
them.
How concentrated is the power at Gannett? I mean, do individual newspapers have any leeway in what they publish, or is it all the same?
They share this
through
editor.
Gannett?
Is that way? It's what I believe.
Yeah,
how
they've
it
got
works.
regional, they've changed their structure a little bit.
I mean, she's a junior editor, but in terms of being gatekeeper for
Is
that
she the
page,
gatekeeper?
For the
yeah,
editorial
she
part.
absolutely
For
is.
the whole thing, okay.
Well, for whichever set, we assume
Because there must be
Rapids,
variety.
Wausau,
Yeah.
and
Well, we know
and
they
Point.
changed their whole structure of editorial anyway. I mean, they got rid of their actual editorialists and things like that. So
Hmm.
But they don't run the same editorial on every single one of those papers, do they?
Right, so it's probably like
It's like 10 different cities.
probably
They
the
don't-
top managing editor probably has to write the stuff now.
they don't even
too.
have them. They just don't have that position.
Okay.
They don't endorse candidates. There's all kinds of idiosyncrasies about what they do now.
The world is changing in many ways, and this is one of them, and it's not good. So that take us through the first two items?
Yeah.
Going once, going twice. Thank you.
Yeah, if you need a media list for like our area, I can also give that
When
too.
we
you just let me know.
Plan B.
give exactly, and
I
we'll,
will.
that's
Yeah.
Implement Plan B and divvy them up.
Gannett will have a day and a half. After tonight, I will DM
Yeah.
Rob. Maybe I might just go down to the newsroom That's
There you
that's the way to humiliate. I think is to hi, I'm here. What's going on?
Although after today, maybe you want to be a little more careful. There's probably a lot more security guards hanging out front. So
I don't know about up here. Anyway, all of that's good. So the third area in which we've been active, I think we're winding down, and that is some of the interchange we've had with candidates. I feel like that's been a good experience. We're young in this effort, right? Just starting to open some channels. I think some of these candidates appreciated the chance, appreciated the interest, and the chance to be heard. And one substantive matter, which I think has a lot to do with looking forward, is all the cues that we've gotten that the the GOP legislative agenda of preemption is is frustrating as hell for anybody. And now I'm looking at Katie, who fought the sulfides battle, and that's something we should focus on post election.
And it sounds like
No matter what.
there's been some court
Right.
battles already that have changed how we're understanding things like conditional use permits. So keeping an eye on some of that stuff would be really important. So I know we didn't end up getting the conditional use permits that I wanted, but it might not matter in the end.
Like I say, I mean, we talked to Senator Gilley. I talked to Aaron Madison and Rebecca Clark. I don't know if there's
I've
anything
talked to
more
Tammy
say.
Baldwin about us.
Yay!
Good.
Talking- I've been talking to Mark Martello.
So I guess the other thing to say is we should keep doing that post-election,
Yeah.
right? That's an appropriate role for us to just kind of have those lines of communication. And I've mentioned before, and we'll mention right now again, that I think this is a good part of the bureaucracy and organization and administration and all that. We are required to submit a strategic plan as a new caucus. I feel like we've done great in being clear about strategy in terms of what we want to do, but a strategic plan is a little different. It's like how are we going to grow? Like what's the path? What's the plan?
Conceivably, we'll start working on that after
Yep.
the elections, which we'll have a better
Yep.
idea of the direction.
Of the
Are we
context.
attacking
That's right.
or are we
We'll
supporting?
right. We'll know to what degree we're
helping fix
in
stuff
opposition
or-
or in power.
Just
That's
alerting
right.
people to
That's
further
right.
damage.
That's right. I kind of mashed items 3 and 4 together there. Is anybody else in the meeting? I'm turning to you now.
Oh, there's a few people, yeah.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Any reactions to any of the above?
See no questions or comments yet?
I'm going to let that question out there for a minute or two. And has everybody at the table addressed whatever we want? Okay, the floor is open for another minute or two for the handful of people who are watching.
I will bring up one further topic while we wait to see if somebody comes in, and that is one of our powers as a caucus is to submit resolutions for the platform.
Yeah.
And as next year will be a platform rewrite year, it's a great time for us to get that together. That's actually a much more involved effort than you would think, judging from my experience on the resolutions committee.
Glad we have you.
well, I don't know. Starting it earlier rather than later
Sure.
is somewhat critical. I think you really have to count on 4 to 6 months of work to
Right.
to put stuff together.
I mean, to the extent that it's an opportunity to, draw things into focus and try and channel energies in the constructive directions and prioritize some things, sounds like a great opportunity. To the extent that classically this is exactly the thing that draws the kind of fights that can be exasperating and not constructive. I guess I'm expressing some ambivalence, he said in his best uptalk voice.
Well, I'll counter that a little bit in that, as long as it doesn't get out of hand.
You've had good
I
experiences.
only do things if it gets out of hand.
Okay, well, then, in that case, we've just found a resolutions chair.
Oh, wait.
You walked right into that.
As long as it doesn't get out of hand, and you got to remember, I come from the legal background, so confrontation is what we do. A little bit of stress and can create some good stuff. I mean, sometimes you need a couple of people throwing things at each other to be at your best. And I'll use one of David's favorite examples. The Clash was exactly like this. I mean, if we didn't have Strummer and Jones going at it all the time, they probably wouldn't have been such a great band. So, having a little bit of tension.
They broke up. I mean,
and then they fell apart, really, right? There's always going to be that. There's always
There's
going
no
to be
organization
people.
that doesn't experience
Exactly.
that at some point.
And like I said, as long as it's controlled, having a multitude of inputs and
Right.
battling it out is not such a bad thing because it gets you to the truth. It gets you to where everybody.
I have had just those experiences with issues. In other settings, in other political dynamics. I will say that within the center left / left, brothers and sisters, I have yet to have a good experience. But I'm ready to have that perception change. I'm considering myself open to the possibilities. But thank you for that. I think all of these, do give us, ideas for the agenda going forward into the months ahead. Meanwhile, is anybody?
Nope, we're not seeing any comments.
All right.
So far,
Then I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
thank you.